crews are working round the clock to remove bodies trapped beneath layers of mud after a devastating mudslide destroyed houses in eastern Uganda. At least 18 people are reportedly dead and many more trapped under fallen houses. The coffee-growing area around the slopes of Mount Elgon is prone to landslides. We have details in this report.
The agony is so strong, she can no longer stand on her 2 feet. This is exactly where her house used to be. So many people she knew were trapped under tons of soil after a landslide buried several settlements in this coffee-growing area on the slopes of Mount Elgon in eastern Uganda. 15 homes were swallowed, at least 18 people lost their lives.
This area is under risk, and the Mount Elgon area has had so many places with cracks. So each time there is rain for a while, this water just seeps into these cracks, and then eventually, the landslide happens.
Dozens of volunteers are digging into the debris to look for survivors, but they have little hope. So far, nobody has been retrieved. Landslides caused by heavy rains are frequent in eastern Uganda, where scores of people were buried alive in a similar disaster in March 2010.
Congo's numerous battles with problems affecting the country is showing no signs of abating. The combined effects of a seemingly unending rebellion in the east of the country and the unholy alliance between poverty and underdevelopment have left the people of the mineral-rich country wondering what's next. Well, if that is not enough, the 10 million strong inhabitants of the capital city Kinshasa are voicing their dissatisfaction with the city's poor road network and the lack of transport for the teeming population. Let's look at this report for more on that.
When the workday ends in the capital city of Kinshasa, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, throngs of workers spill out of workplaces and crowd onto sidewalks to begin the often arduous trip home. Public transportation is practically non-existent in this country.
I've been waiting here for 3 hours. I climbed in through a window. We have to find a solution to this transportation problem. I'm tired, so tired.
It's the same scenario further along the boulevard. People scramble to get on a minibus. Passengers are fed up. They use up every available inch of space, but there's just not enough room for everyone.
I've been here since 3 p.m. and I haven't found a single vehicle to take me home, or they are filled to overflowing. The government says there are buses, so why don't they put them in circulation instead of making us walk like this every day?
Solange and millions of workers like her have to walk 10 or 15 miles in this sprawling city to get back and forth to work. 10 million inhabitants and a practically non-existent transportation system exist here. 2 public bus companies supply a few dozen buses, while others in need of repair remain in the garage. Private minibus companies charge outrageous prices. The situation has become critical.
Transportation is a strategic question, a key one that affects lives on a national level. People can't do anything if they don't have a means of transportation. Transportation for inhabitants is a right. That's why we're asking the government to take proper measures.
The Minister of Transportation promised to deliver 200 brand new buses out of the 1,500 that he plans to order. But potential bus passengers are used to false promises. In the meantime, all they can do is keep walking in frustration and hope for a viable solution soon.
South Africa's ruling African National Congress has kick-started the party's National Policy Conference. The Johannesburg conference is being attended by key members of the ruling party and is expected to provide the ANC the platform to draw up new policy plans for the next 5 years. Plans to nationalize mines and the controversial land appropriation bill are expected to top the agenda. We have details in this report.
The National Policy Conference of the ruling African National Congress got underway in Johannesburg Tuesday. Investors, civil society and ratings agencies are watching developments there.
There is going to be a robust debate, a very highly theoretical debate, and a debate that seeks to get practical solutions to what we should be doing moving forward.
The party's policies for the next 5 years will be debated and drawn up, including a proposal to nationalize mines, land expropriation and funding, as well as rolling out of universal access to health care. The ANC-led government has struggled for years to come up with a sustainable land reform model. President Jacob Zuma made a campaign promise to redistribute 30% of white-owned land to blacks, but there have been few success stories. One is in the Western Cape, where wine farmers promote equity share schemes as a model for land reform.
We get a certain amount of dividends at the end of the year, but we reinvest most of the profits into the company, and the rest we take at the end of the year.
But this program became too expensive for the government to maintain, so it was suspended. Some people are impatient and want the land expropriations to go faster and further.
There is a very strong view that there should be no compensation. Another argument would be, well, there should be reasonable compensation. But in principle, we're certainly saying they should not get the commercial value, because that is inevitably inflated.
White South Africans make up about 10% of the population and own up to 80% of the land. The South African government wants to avoid the mistakes made in Zimbabwe, where farm production plummeted by 70% after land was taken from white farmers.
We now shift our attention to the weather report courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton, just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Good evening, and once again it's a warm welcome to the weather segment. We begin with a summary of today's weather followed by the forecast. It's been warm, humid and sunny across the country. For our forecast tonight, we're expecting conditions to be humid, warm, with chances of light showers across the country. Similar conditions will prevail during the day tomorrow. A light to moderate southwesterly breeze will continue to dominate the wind flow across the country, and morning temperature values between 22 degrees Celsius over Banjul. We are expecting 23 degrees Celsius over Yundum, Kerawan and Sibangor. The rest of the country will record 24 degrees Celsius tomorrow morning. Top temperatures will be 30 degrees Celsius over Banjul. Yundum will record 33 degrees Celsius. We are expecting 34 and 35 degrees Celsius over Kerawan and Sibangor respectively. Elsewhere over the country will be either 36 or 37 degrees Celsius during the afternoon tomorrow. We are expecting low tides to be 0.54 meters at 5 minutes past 9 o'clock in the morning and 0.42 meters at 6 minutes to 10 o'clock in the evening. High tides will be 1.41 meters at 5 minutes past 2 o'clock in the morning and 1.57 meters at 18 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. The sun will rise at 23 minutes to 7 o'clock and will set at 21 minutes to 8 o'clock. Next, we thank you very much and hope to see you again.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. The National Drug Enforcement Agency has made a broad appeal for help to stem the trafficking and consumption of illicit drugs in the country. The West African Agricultural Productivity Program has procured rice, groundnut and maize seeds to the tune of over $3 million for Gambian farmers. A devastating mudslide has buried at least 18 people living on the slopes of Uganda's Mount Elgon, and officials of the ruling African National Congress have commenced deliberations on the future of South Africa's mines and the controversial land appropriation bill. You can follow those stories and other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. That brings us to the end of this edition of news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Join us at 10 for another bulletin. Meanwhile, enjoy the rest of our programs.